Alright, my white brothers and sisters. Episode 12 of The Eagle's Edge starts now. Palantir. Fuck. This is so much. There is so much. Alright. I'm the Shogun, your guide through this twisted, dystopian hellscape that is 2025. America. We're the founding stock, our people, the white Christian, not a single drop of Mexican blood, backbone of this nation is under siege. Picture us in a dive bar somewhere cool. You, me, puffing on nicotine like men have always done since the good Lord invented nicotine. Phone's glowing, we're bantering back and forth, laughing about Jews probably. Actually, we're probably more laughing about niggers. Phone's glowing with X and JewishInsider.com, digging into the grid of how we got here. Tonight, we're digging into Peter Thiel, Palantir, a web of Jewish influencers who've turned our white land of liberty into a surveillance state, selling out our heritage faster than you can say globalist agenda. Oh, there it goes. Already sold out. This, unfortunately, is no short sermon. This is a longer than short sermon. Am I recording? Yes. Packed with dates, stats, names, and a little humor. So take a seat, grab a delicious, poisonous Mountain Dew, or whatever, and let's expose the plot that is gutting our white, not Jewish, not black, not Asian, not mestizo, but white America. It's gonna be a wild ride. Alright, let's go. Quick. We're doing this quick. Frankfurt, Germany, 1967. Peter Thiel pops into the world on October 11th. A scrawny kid born to chemist parents, Klaus and Suzanne. Klaus, ja, das ist gut, ja. They haul him across the Atlantic when he's barely one, landing in Cleveland, Ohio, before settling in Foster City, California. A suburban slice of the American dream. Before the Thiel family did all this moving around, they lived in South Africa. Super weird coincidence. That's where Elon Musk is from. But that's all that we at Founding America have concluded. That it's just a coincidence. Anyway, young Peter, with his strong European blood, was a chess nerd, math whiz, and according to his classmates, a strange boy who took vitamins in a specific order like some proto-cyborg. But don't let the awkwardness fool you. This kid's got a spark, all kinds of potential, a destiny to reshape the world for better or worse. It's a little foreshadowing. Fast forward to 1985. Thiel's at Stanford University, studying philosophy, soaking up Rene Girard's mimetic theory. Fancy talk for how humans copy each other's desires, which he will later use to game the system. He co-founds the Stanford Review in 1987, a conservative rag sticking it to the campus lefties, signaling he's not your average yuppie. By 1989, he's got his BA, and by 1992, a JD, a professional graduate degree from Stanford Law, which he later trashes as a waste of time. Post-law school, he's a judicial clerk for Judge James Larry Edmondson, a securities lawyer at Sullivan and Cromwell, a speechwriter for William Bennett, and a derivatives trader at Credit Suisse. I think sus is the correct pronunciation for that. The guy's a chameleon, learning the ropes of law, finance, and power. But here's where the white nationalist lens kicks in. Thiel's early years are in white America, pre-1965 Immigration Act, when the U.S. was practically 90% white. This is the America the Founding Fathers built, a nation of European stock with Christian values. Yet, even as Thiel's climbing, the seeds of decline are sown. The Hart-Celler Immigration Act, pushed by Jewish Congressman Emanuel Celler, opens the floodgates to non-white immigration, dropping the white share to 80% by 1990. Thiel is in the heart of this shift, and his future alliances will tell us who's steering the ship. Thiel's like a young Luke Skywalker, training in the Jedi arts of finance and law. But the empire, globalist forces led by Jewish elites, is already building the Death Star to crush a white Christian galaxy. It's 1996 and Thiel is back in Silicon Valley founding Thiel Capital Management. But the real action starts in 1998 when he teams up with Max Lebchin, a Jewish immigrant from Ukraine, and Luke Nozek to create Confinity, which becomes PayPal. Lebchin's the tech genius, building the platform's fraud-proofing code, while Thiel's the strategist, steering the ship as CEO. In 2000, Confinity merges with Musk's X.com, forming PayPal, with Musk as CEO. Here's where it gets spicy. Musk, a South African faggot boy, gets ousted during his honeymoon in 2000, with Thiel and Lebchin pulling the strings. Musk calls Thiel a psychopath. Thiel calls Musk a fraud. Drama, baby! PayPal's a hit, selling to eBay for $1.5 billion in 2002, making Thiel rich and birthing the PayPal Mafia, a network including Jewish figures like Reid Hoffman, who founds LinkedIn, and David Sachs, later of Yammer. Lebchin's Jewish brilliance is undeniable. But from our perspective here at Founding America, this is where the plot thickens. The PayPal Mafia becomes a power block, and Lebchin and Hoffman are at its core, shaping tech's future. By 2000, the US's white population drops below 75%, as non-white immigration, enabled by Seller's legacy, accelerates. Tech's rise, led by figures like Lebchin, perfectly coincides with this demographic shift, raising questions about who's calling the shots. Imagine Thiel and Lebchin in a smoky Silicon Valley penthouse, plotting like Scarface with laptops instead of coke. Cocaine! They're not just building PayPal. They're laying the foundation for a tech empire that'll dwarf the Founding Fathers' vision. Meanwhile, white America's watching Friends, completely oblivious to the cultural tide turning. PayPal is like the Trojan horse, okay? Sneaking Jewish tech influence into the heart of white America's economy, while we're distracted with Y2K scares and boy bands. I cannot lie, that was an instant classic. Enter 2003, post 9/11 America, where fear's the name of the game. Thiel, now a venture capitalist kingpin via Founders Fund, co-founds Palantir Technologies with Alex Karp, Stephen Cohen, Joe Lonsdale, Alexandra Schiff, there's another fucking Schiff, Lauren Friedman Stat, Eric Warshing, among others. Named after J.R.R. Tolkien's all-seeing orbs, Palantir is a data analytics beast, funded by the CIA's In-Q-Tel from 2003 to 2008. Its sole client initially, Karp, a Jewish philosophy PhD and CEO, and Lonsdale, another Jewish acolyte of Peter Thiel, build a platform that sifts through phone calls, emails, cameras and satellite images of the FBI, CIA, and NSA. By 2011, it's tracking January 6th rioters. Yeah, you heard me. They've had all this info on us years before Capitol protests were even thought of. Oh, I'm sorry. Insurrection. Yeah, fucking right. You want to see an insurrection? I didn't think so. These fucking people insult us, calling it an insurrection. If we committed even a fraction of an actual insurgency on the Capitol, it would be ours. And maybe these gallows wouldn't be built with a couple 2x4s. It would be a real fucking gallows. I'll tell you what though, there will be gallows. I promise you that. Many gallows. Multiplicitous gallows. But yeah, before any protests or insurrections were ever even thought of. And that was before AI was being implemented like it is right now, at this very moment. By 2020, it's monitoring COVID vaccine distribution for the CDC. And how are they able to access all this information on American citizens? The motherfucking Patriot Act, implemented by the same Bush admin that blew up, controlled demolition style, our beautiful twin skyscrapers, extinguishing 3,000 lives. Any coincidence that no Jews showed up to work that day? I think not. Here's the rub. Palantir is not just tech. It's a surveillance state on steroids. Its Gotham platform helps the feds track threats. But who's defining threats? By 2010, the white population's down to 72%. That's including Hispanic whites and Jews. And policies like DACA, supported by Jewish-led groups like the ADL, and open borders are flooding the nation with non-whites. Palantir's tech, under CARP's watch, is flagging white patriots as domestic extremists, while ignoring the real demographic invasion. The FBI's 2019 terrorism report notes a rise in white supremacist investigations, often based on vague data analytics. Guess who's providing the tech? Palantir. And then there's Israel. In 2014, when they decided it was kosher to let us know, Palantir starts working with the Israeli Defense Ministry, escalating by 2024 to provide AI tools like Lavender for Gaza operations, creating kill lists with weighted scores. Lavender, if you didn't know, is an Israeli military targeting program, which we now know has been responsible for an untold number of Palestinian deaths since October 7th. The last reported number of victims was somewhere around 64,000 in Gaza alone, with estimates to be around 70% of those victims to be women and children under the age of 18. Thiel is on record saying he defers to Israel and CARP's vocal Zionism, calling Palantir the key to stopping Europe's far right, raises eyebrows. Palantir is a front for Israeli intelligence. It's enough to make you wonder who's really watching the watchers. Israel has direct access to your phones, computers, all of it. It's a real-life Tom Cruise movie where they're determining who's going to commit a crime before it even happens. That's not just guilty until proven innocent. That's my views don't align with your views, so you're just guilty. The IDF is selecting you as a target right now. Right fucking now. Let's say you make a call to a Palestinian, an old work colleague or schoolmate or something, maybe even an innocent business deal, because you're just trying to live your life as the owner of an American business who ships products to Palestine or something. Consider yourself to be at the very top of that list. Their openly stated goal is complete human-computer symbiosis. I don't know about you, but I've been around since before everyone had access to the internet. And I'll tell you, the further engrossed we become with interfacing with computers, the worse things have gotten. They're not looking to create a happy medium between humans and technology. They mean to completely integrate them. Never to be unplugged, never to be outside of their control. Imagine allowing a small group of Jews to have the power to just shut you off like they're unplugging a power cord from the back of a PC. Palantir and L3 Communications have a nice little side hustle. Together, Palantir and L3 are delivering AI-enabled hardware, defining the future of communication and targeting in theater. That means the theater of war, if that flew over your little noggin there. The company L3 was founded and named for Frank Lanza, Jew as fuck, in partnership with the Lehman Brothers. And despite being in business for less than a decade, L3 is now the 6th largest military contract in the nation. Wait, there's 6 military contractors? These people will have full, unmitigated access and control over your biometric data, DNA, tax records, medical history, psychological profiles, and financial information. If we expect to survive, we can't just participate in the technological rat race. We must secure our dominance in that race. So I'm not against AI. I'm against our 2,000-plus-year-old enemies being at the helm of it. Peter Thiel and Alex Karp in a Tel Aviv war room, sipping espresso, as Palantir's screens light up with Palestinian faces, each tagged with a kill score. Back in America, white Christians are praying in church, completely unaware that their data is being crunched by the same system. It's like Terminator 2, but the T-1000's donning a yarmulke and a CIA badge. Palantir is the Eye of Sauron, scanning Middle America's heartland, while Jewish elites like Karp and Lepchin hold the One Ring, deciding who's a patriot and who's a threat. But white America is currently asleep, thinking it's still 1990. There's a deeper layer to this dystopian rabbit hole. Let's rewind to Thiel's early days, pre-PayPal, when he's a hungry Stanford grad clawing his way up. Who is bankrolling this chess nerd turned tech titan? You think a guy like Thiel, a non-Jew, just stumbles into billions? No. Follow the fucking money. Back in the late 90s, Thiel Capital Management gets a boost from Wall Street's elite and Jewish financiers like the Lehman Brothers, those old school banker titans, greasing the wheels. Lehman's gone by 2008, but their legacy lives in firms like Goldman Sachs, where Jewish execs like Lloyd Blankfein ruled the roost. Thiel's rise reeks of Jewish capital, steering him towards their globalist game plan. By 2003, when Palantir is born, the CIA's In-Q-Tel, funded by your dollars by the way, pumps cash into Thiel's baby. But who's whispering in the CIA's ear? Israeli intelligence, with Jewish middlemen brokering the deal. Think about it. Palantir's Gotham platform, sifting your emails and calls, was ripped straight from Tel Aviv's playbook. Speaking of Israel, let's talk about Unit 8200, that shadowy Israeli cyber intel unit, churning out tech moguls like a kibbutz churns out hummus. By 2014, Palantir is openly working with the Israeli Defense Ministry, powering their Lavender AI's kill lists. Like I said, 64,000 plus in Gaza dead. All by June 2024. Took them less than like 9 months. Mostly women and kids. And again, that figure's the only one we have, and it's from over a year ago. Just imagine the amount of lives lost. Palantir's ties to Israel go back further, back to its founding. Unit 8200 floods Silicon Valley, and Palantir's AI is their handiwork. Algorithms that don't just track Palestinians, but flag white patriots as domestic extremists. Palantir's tech mirrors Israeli surveillance state, built by spooks trained to crush dissent. Imagine Thiel and Karp sipping Manischewitz in a Tel Aviv bunker, screens glowing with your Gadsden flag bumper sticker, tagging you as a threat while illegals waltz across the border. Now let's get weird. Thiel is obsessed with cheating death. Unity, biotechnology, ambrosia, all that sci-fi blood transfusion shit. He's pushing a transhumanist nightmare, merging humans with machines to create a slave race for the Jewish tech overlords. Sound crazy? Maybe, but Thiel's own words in 0 to 1 hype it up as the future. Palantir's Foundry platform, now in 20 federal agencies, crunches your DNA, your taxes, even your ex-posts, building a digital you. Add in the L3 communications, and you've got a control grid straight out of a tinfoil hat fever dream. Palantir and L3 have been wiring 5G towers to track your every move, and believe it or not, your thoughts. This ain't just surveillance. It's a Jewish-led tech cult with Thiel as the high priest, turning white Christians into NPCs in his globalist matrix. And then there's Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, that Epstein, with his Mossad-tied fortune, funneled cash to Palantir's early days. Epstein's black book linked Thiel to Israeli intelligence via shared investors. Epstein's dead, or so they say, but his ghost haunts Palantir's servers, tying Thiel to a web of Jewish elites who bankrolled a surveillance empire. Picture Thiel at one of Epstein's parties, because, he was there, shaking hands with Mossad operatives, while Palantir's algorithms learn to spy on your church groups. It's like Eyes Wide Shut, but the masks are AI and the orgy is your data. Here's the kicker. Again, Peter Thiel is no Jew, but he's their perfect frontman. His I defer to Israel quip from responsible statecraft says it all. He's a willing pawn, funded by Jewish capital, wired to Israeli tech, and pushing a transhumanist future where white America's heritage is just code to be deleted. The ADL's 2023 report brags about crushing white supremacy, but their hit list, powered by Palantir's data, includes you, me, anyone waving a Bible or a Betsy Ross flag. Thiel's crew built a digital guillotine, and our founding stock's head is on the block. Thiel's like a cyborg Judas, selling white America for 30 pieces of Jewish silver, while Palantir's Eye of Sauron scans our heartland, picking targets for the globalist chop. It is Terminator meets the protocols of the Elders of Zion. Thiel's not just a tech mogul. He's a political puppet master. In 2011, he launches the Thiel Fellowship, offering $100,000 to kids to skip college, pushing his anti-establishment gospel. His 2014 book, 0 to 1, preaches innovation over competition, becoming a Bible for tech bros. But his real power play is in politics. In 2016, he backs Trump, speaking at the RNC and donating $1.25 million. By 2022, he's bankrolling J.D. Vance's Ohio Senate run with $15 million, the largest single candidate donation ever. Vance is Thiel's creation. A Yale law grad and hillbilly elegy author, Vance gets his first Silicon Valley gig through Thiel, who funds his venture capital firm. and brokers his Trump endorsement after years of being a never-Trumper. Why does this matter? Vance is the face of white, working-class America, but he's Thiel's pawn, tied to a network including Jewish figures like Bari Weiss, who co-invests with Thiel in the University of Austin. And Wise, a Zionist pundit, pushes narratives that marginalize white identity while championing Israel. Meanwhile, the white population's shrinking. Jewish-led groups like the ADL push diversity policies, from affirmative action to sanctuary cities, diluting white Christian influence. Thiel's funding of national conservatism seems like a lifeline, but is it? His allies, Karp, Wise, Andreessen, lean globalist, pro-Israel, pro-immigration. H-1B visas, anyone? It's a bait and switch. Selling white America a patriot while serving a different master entirely. Imagine Thiel as some slick movie villain like Gordon Gekko, whispering promises of "Make America Great Again" to Vance, while handing him a Palantir branded leash. White America's cheering, but the script is written in Hebrew, and the director is in Tel Aviv. Thiel's political game is like a chessboard where white Americans think they're the king, but Jewish grand masters like Karp and Wise are moving the pieces, sacrificing white heritage for a globalist checkmate. Alright, it's November 2024, and Trump's back in the White House. Enter Elon Musk, leading the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. A January 2025 initiative to cut $2 trillion from our federal deficit. Musk, Thiel's old PayPal rival, brings in Silicon Valley cronies, many tied to Palantir, SpaceX, and Andreessen Horowitz, to fix the Treasury, IRS, Social Security, and HHS. The pitch? Root out waste, fraud, and abuse with AI. Sounds nice, but the US debt's pushing $35 trillion, $40 trillion by the time you blink 5 times, with interest payments eating 15% of revenue. Musk's team avoids big-ticket items like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, or the $1 trillion military budget, targeting piddly stuff like the National Park Service. Man, if he would just watch episode 10 of The Eagle's Edge, he would have destroyed the debt with my 10-year plan. But no. Hey, no one listens to a genius in a bi-level. And by June 2025, Doge is a bust. $6 to $9 billion in cuts, a measly 0.5% of the goal. Musk bails, pivoting to growing the tax base. But here's the truth. Palantir is the real winner. Since Trump's inauguration, Palantir snagged $130 million in federal contracts, including a $795 million Pentagon deal. Its foundry platforms in 20 agencies, cross-referencing your taxes, medical records, and Social Security data. Privacy lawsuits from the ACLU and labor unions scream surveillance state. And who's behind this? Doge members with Palantir ties, handpicked by Thiel and Musk. Karp's Jewish-led Palantir is now the Fed's data overlord, and its Israeli ties, Lavender's kill lists in Gaza, raise red flags. Palantir has got an enemies list of over 2 million Americans flagged as domestic extremists, and that list is rapidly growing. Thiel's funding race trader Vance, now VP, who's eyeing the presidency in 2028 with Thiel's Jewish billions. It's a setup, folks. White America's being watched, while Jewish elites like Karp, Lepshin, and Wise call the shots. It's like RoboCop, but the OCP execs are Thiel, Karp, and Musk. And Detroit is every white town in America. Palantir is the Matrix, plugging white America into a digital prison, while Jewish programmers like Karp rewrite the code. turning our founding stock into NPCs in a globalist simulation. Let's zoom out a bit. Since 1965, the white population's plummeted from over 90% to less than 50%. Jewish-led policies, 1965 Immigration Act, ADL's diversity push, and Tech's H-1B visa advocacy have fueled this. When the ADL brags about fighting white supremacy, their definition includes anyone questioning open borders or Israel. They dominate tech, shaping culture via Facebook, LinkedIn, and Palantir. Their influence from PayPal to Doge aligns with globalism, not white Christian values. Thiel's no Jew, but his ties to Wise and Karp suggest he's a willing player. His $1.25 million to Trump in 2016 and his $15 million to Vance in 2022 look patriotic, but are they? Trump's 2025 administration, backed by Thiel and Musk, fails on borders and tariffs. Yet, Palantir's contracts soar. The Jewish network, Lepchin's tech, Karp's surveillance, Wise's media seems to multiply our enemies. From non-white immigrants to AI systems targeting white dissidents. Palantir's tracking white patriots while Israel gets $60+ billion in aid. Tax-free, interest-free. We could build 100-foot concrete walls across the entire Canadian border, the entire Mexican border, with but a fraction of that. The US gave Israel $4 billion tax-free every single year pre-October 7th. It's enough to make you spit your white monster. This Jewish network's like Hydra. Cut off one head, PayPal, and two more grow. Palantir, Founders Fund. White America's Theseus lost in a maze, while Thiel's Minotaur guards a globalist agenda. While doing research, I came across this post by @RyanMatta, and I found it to be stated perfectly. Americans voted for liberty and got Palantir surveillance contracts. Americans voted for Doge and got a big, beautiful bill. Americans voted for fewer wars and less military spending, and we got the exact opposite. Americans voted to make America great again and got a government obsessed with making Israel great again. Americans voted to see the Epstein files and got told again that Epstein killed himself. Americans voted to drain the swamp, and the swamp changed suits. Americans voted for free speech and got ADL blacklists, censorship algorithms, and anti-Semitism laws criminalizing dissent. Americans don't get what they vote for. They get what their foreign handlers decided months in advance. Then he finishes off a grade A post with Massey Paul 2028 might just be your last real shot at change, which is complete dog shit. I'm sorry, Mr. RyanMatta. Again, two prime examples of people that say and do the right things 99% of the time. But when it comes to true protection and preservation of our nation, our people, they would allow our borders to be flooded with non-whites, every drug known to man to be legalized, as long as it's regulated. And I don't even have time to get into their numerous satanic libertarian ideologies. So sorry, Ryan, but no. We demand American perfection. All right, my white brothers and sisters, here's the white pill. Our founding stock built this nation. Jamestown, Plymouth, the Constitution. As of 2017, whites became the minority. That's according to President Biden.
I would argue it's unlike any other large country in the world. So there's a second thing in that black box, an unrelenting stream of immigration, non-stop. Folks like me who were Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
But numbers ain't destiny. Thiel, Karp, and their crew think they got us in a digital cage, but we're not NPCs. In 2025, white Christians are waking up. Militias are forming. Homeschooling has been surging. We vote, we organize, we build parallel economies. The purge, it starts with truth. Vote out the globalists. Thiel's puppets like Vance and Musk's cronies. Support leaders who will slash H-1B visas, secure borders, and defund foreign wars. Palantir is watching, but we're watching back. Our heritage, white, Christian, American, is that fire that won't die. Let's reclaim our nation, one county at a time, and send the non-white influences packing. The Eagle's Edge is our battle cry, and the Shogun ain't stopping until we're free. I could have done a 2-hour episode on Palantir. Cut it down to the sweet stuff. Thanks for sticking with me. And from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank you enough for tuning in to episode 12 of The Eagle's Edge. A humble show hosted by yours truly, the Shogun. Episode 12 of The Eagle's Edge has been brought to you by Palantir. Wait. This episode has been brought to you by Founding America, returning America to its former glory. Stay white, stay proud, and hopefully stay Christian. If not, it's whatever. As long as you're white, it's all good. It's all good. Brought to you by Palantir. And I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you so much. The Spirit of Christ fills me up. And I love you so much. I love you so damn much.
אבל אנחנו הולכים למסלול התנגשות עם הממשל האמריקאי.
ארצות הברית זה לא מקשה אחת, יש את הסנאט, יש את הקונגרס, יש את הכוח היהודי שהוא עצום, יותר חזק משהיה אי פעם, יש דעת קהל, יש לנו כוחות כבירים בדעת הקהל שמתנגדים למדיניות הזאת, גדולי הפרשנים. אמריקה לא תכפה עלינו דבר, אם לא...
שהמחיר יהיה כבד מצוא, כרגע המחיר לא כבד מצוא. התקפה רבת היקף ברשות הפלסטינית. זה לפחד שהכל מתמוטט.
לא פוחדים, צוחקים להם ירון על לתוך האישה, צחוק ופשוט הם לא פוחדים לצחוק.
זה מה שמביא אותם.
רגע, אבל אז רשות גם העולם יגיד מה אתם כובשים. אתה לא מפחד מהעולם, ביבי.
במיוחד היום עם אמריקה, אני יודע מה זה אמריקה. אמריקה זה לא שאפשר להזיז אותו בקלות, להזיז לכיוון הנכון. הוא לא יכניעו.
אז שאם אנחנו עושים איזה משהו, אז הם...
יש שווה, אז נגיע שם משהו. 80% מהאמריקאים תומכים בנו. זה אבסורד. לא פחדתי להתאבד שם. לא פחדתי להתאבד עם קריטו. לא פחדתי להתאבד עם עובד. מה היו הסכמי אוסלו? הסכמי אוסלו שהכנסת חתמה עליהם. שאלו אותי, מה כבר מתקיים? אוקיי, בתנאי כפוף להדדיות, צמצום הנסיבות. אבל איך נצמצם את הנסיבות? אני אתן פירוש להסכם שיאפשר לי להפסיק את הדהירה הזאת לגבי 67.